one unexpected glimpse of a man she'd secretly admired for years changed everything. And it all started with a glance across an uncrowded ice cream parlor. The heat. That heat melted more than her ice cream. Sometimes moments we're most embarrassed by become the moments and the memories we treasure the most. This is one of those stories. Most people drop their ice cream, but she had carefully tucked hers into her purse and didn't realize what she'd done until just a few minutes later. She thought she'd ruined her favorite purse forever, but what she discovered inside moments later turned one embarrassing moment into a story she'll obviously never forget. Everyone laughed, and when they heard what she had accidentally done, but by the end of this story, you'll understand why she still smiles every time she thinks about it. Oh, the heat. Our title, He Made Her Melt, and Her Ice Cream Too. Welcome to Dream Builders Diaries, building dreams one story at a time. And I'm Jeannie Craft. And here at Dream Builders Diaries, we dive deep into the personal stories of entrepreneurs, artists, innovators, and everyday visionaries just like you. We believe that every dream starts with a story worth telling. By sharing these stories, we aim to empower you to create your own dream and the story behind it. But before we get started, grab a paper and a pencil if you don't already have one. Inspiration, ideas, and dreams come and go very quickly. Jot yours down. Don't let yours get away. She saw her crush and then did something unbelievable. She put ice cream in her purse. Here's why. Have you ever been so stunned that your brain completely stopped working? She was. And that's how a double chocolate ice cream cone ended up inside her purse in the heat of it all. Only women of a certain era will fully appreciate this true story. A Michigan woman and her family were vacationing in a small New England town. Now, New England is a northeastern region of the United States, and it comprises the states of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, just for those who might need a refresher. One Sunday morning, the woman got up early to take a long walk. And after her brisk 5-mile hike, she decided to treat herself to a double-dipped chocolate ice cream cone. After all, it was National Ice Cream Day, and not for things, so why not? So after she finished her run, she hopped in the car and drove to the center of the village and went straight to the Combination Bakery Ice Cream Parlor. Now, these little shops are all over New England, which is also known for the colonial past of the area and changing autumn foliage in massive forested mountains. Boston is the hub of New England, and it predates the American Revolution with the Freedom Trail passing sites that were critical to the nation's founding. Anyway, as she entered the sweet-smelling store, she noticed that there was only one other patron, sitting halfway to the rear of the store at the counter. What she didn't know was somewhere in this region is where a younger and a very handsome Paul Newman and his family often visited. Paul Newman was sitting at the counter having a donut and coffee. She recognized him immediately and wished she'd stopped and taken a shower before jumping into her car. Sweat was running down her back, and she grabbed a napkin from the dispenser and dabbed at her dripping brow, checked the scrunchie on her ponytail, and licked her dry lips. The woman's heart skipped a beat as her eyes made contact with those famous baby blues. Unknowingly, the heat began to rise in her toes. It rose to her knees, and from there, she felt warm all over. She realized the man sitting alone in the corner was Paul Newman. She was known for having the most piercing shade of blue to his eyes, and her eyes met his, and she knew she could confirm that fact for the rest of her life. The actor nodded graciously, and the star-struck woman smiled demurely. Her legs felt like hot rubber, but somehow they allowed her to move towards the ice cream freezers in front of her, although she would have not been surprised if her legs had taken her in a totally different direction. Pull yourself together, she thought. But her thoughts went wild. She chided herself mindfully. You're a happily married woman with 3 children. You're 45 years old, and you're not a teenager. He's, well, taken too. His words came crashing into her thoughts. How may I help you? The unaware teen who was hired because he was strong enough to lift the heavy 10-gallon frozen tubs and keep track of which the next flavor to bring to the counter, looked at her like she had just stepped out from underneath a waterfall. She looked up, but she could not speak. The thoughts that were rushing through her mind could have melted the stainless steel counter she was bracing herself on. The heat was on. The woman's attention was ripped from the blue-eyed hunk in the corner. She stammered, "I'll have a double chocolate chip ice cream cone," and blushed as she reminded herself again that she was a married woman. But she stole another glance as the young man scooped the rich chocolatey chunks into the cone anyway. The thoughts wouldn't stop. I should go talk to him. No. She froze at that thought too. Fear rose in her throat. Why was it so hot in this ice cream parlor? The clerk filled her order and took her money. Now she thought she had taken the double dip chocolate ice cream cone in one hand and her change in the other. Then she quickly went out the door, avoiding even a lasting glance in Paul Newman's direction. Once out the door, she grabbed her dripping shirt. If only the thoughts about a shower became confused with the thoughts about what had just happened to her. For a second, she wondered if she would have looked any different being freshly drenched from a post-workout shower. The hair around her face started to stick to her cheek. It forced her back to the realities of the beginnings of a steamy, hot New England day. When she reached her car, she realized that she had a handful of change, but her other hand was empty. What? What the? Where's my ice cream cone? She frantically thought. Did I leave it in the store? She stopped and took a deep breath and took a swipe at the locks of her hair that adhered to her face. Had that handsome man watched her fumble and fret? Had he seen this type of thing before? Who could possibly misplace an ice cream cone? She checked the other seat, the area under the dashboard. No cone. So back into the hot ice cream shop she went, expecting to see the cone still in the clerk's hand or in the holder on the counter or something. However, there was no ice cream cone in sight. The young cone filler had turned his back, working on something different, and said rather mechanically, "Welcome, be with you in just a moment." With that, she happened to look over at Paul Newman. His face broke into his familiar, warm, friendly grin, and he said to the women, "Hello, are you missing something? Something maybe double chocolate-like? I think you put it in your purse." "Yes, it is in your purse, ma'am." He continued to smile as the woman realized her purse was now dripping double chocolate ice cream mess. She hurriedly said, "Thank you," and she flew out the door. The bells were clanging against the door as it closed behind her. Paul Newman possessed a real power, and he used it beautifully, not to embarrass her, but to point out something we can all experience: being starstruck. Being starstruck can make us do some very funny things. So, why was there ice cream in her purse? Now there was a chocolate mess that changed everything. Finding melted chocolate ice cream in your purse sounds like a disaster, unless it's the beginning of a story you'll smile about and tell for the rest of your life. So to recap, what to think about. What's your biggest takeaway from our diary today? And how does this diary relate to your fears and what you're committed to and challenged to as you build your dream? Why this diary? Because this diary demonstrates the magic and beauty of how a simple encounter with heartthrob can make us weak in the knees. And I also share this diary because this powerful diary also celebrates the virtues of remembering who you are, stepping out of that reality for just a moment and returning with a very special memory. Dreamers, believe in yourselves. Be passionate, work smart, know your why, and apply what you learn each day. Enjoy life and always, always be kind. I want to leave you with this quotation. When you see the right thing to do, you better do it. Paul Newman. When you see the right thing to do, you better do it. Paul Newman. Thank you, Paul Newman, for being such a gentleman and for all the heartthrobs that are actually gentlemen out there. All of you make us ladies lose our minds. Special thanks to those of you who listen to Dream Builders Diaries regularly. I am grateful to you. The honor to spend time with you is all mine. Check out the other diaries in the My Fears, Commitments, and Challenges playlist. And if you don't have it yet, get your 90-day Dream Builder's Diary by Jeannie Craft on Amazon. The link is in the description. Like and share this diary, subscribe for more, and contact us to share your story. Thank you. Until next time, building dreams one story at a time.